Economic Ninja here. I'm so grateful that you guys are here today. We're going to be talking about inflation, a food crisis, all kinds of things wrapped into one. And today we are with Jay, a fellow subscriber of the Economic Ninja channel. I'm so grateful for him to come on because he actually emailed me. And in the comments, actually, I noticed some things he was talking about his cattle operation. And I wanted to have him on because he's got a lot of great info. So Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm glad to be on here. I mean, I've been watching your channel, awesome channel, and I'm learning a whole lot, and people need to listen to you.
Oh man, thank you so much. So Jay, if you don't mind, you told me in the emails that you have a cow-calf operation.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
So you got a group of cows, and then they have a calf, and then I usually sell in the fall. So I got my calves coming in the spring, and then in the fall, you'll wean and then keep them till the fall, and then we sell them.
Okay.
You also do it the other way where you sell in the spring. You have your fall calves and then you sell them in the spring. But I'm more of I'll get them in the spring and sell them in the fall.
Gotcha. And you also train dogs, correct?
Yes. I've trained bird dogs and retrievers for several years, and now I started working for another. I work for another company just doing basic obedience work. They'll get a dog and I go pick it up and bring it back, and I got it for either 2 weeks or a month and then send it back. But I also train, bird dogs and retrievers. That's through myself doing that.
Okay. And these are both a side hustle, and I use that in a respectful term, but you have a 9-to-5 job as well.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect. So, it's really neat because we're going to talk today about a couple of different events that are actually affecting your livelihood because they affect your animal operations. So I'm really stoked you came on. So if we could dive into the cattle operation. So you raise these cattle from a calf to either you sell them off as a calf or you sell them as a more fully grown animals to either go to slaughter or for milk production, probably, correct?
Oh, well, we're beef cattle only. And so what'll happen is we'll sell to, I could take them to the market, and then the feedlots will buy them, and then the feedlots will finish them out. And then that's what you get at like the grocery store or the McDonald's. So.
Perfect. And then, so I'm sure there's a lot of people now jumping on the comment section saying, no, that's dog or that's horse that's in the McDonald's burger. But sorry, I digress. So to give you an idea, so how long have you been doing this?
I've actually grown up on a farm. So and been doing it, I think I helped before on my grandfather's farm, and then we bought it, and that was in the 3rd grade. So I've been on a farm ever since, living on one since.
Nice. And how big is the operation you're running right now?
We're running about 100 cows, and that's between me and my brother and my father-in-law. So me and my brother have some together, and then I got some with my father-in-law. So, we kind of all help each other, but I got 2 groups that I'm running with them, but all together. Awesome.
So a family-run business, I love those, especially if we could all get along during the family-run business. So here's a question for you. So what has changed? We'll start talking about the beginning of the situation, let's call it, where the whole world changed its views on what they should wear on their face and all that good stuff. What happened with your operation? Let's talk about from the beginning when things started to shut down. What were the changes there? And then we could talk about both the actual animals, things that were changing around you, but also I'd love to talk about the financials too. SBA loans, any of that stuff, because I don't know, we haven't talked about this in the pre-interview.
Okay, one of the things that actually changed or started getting out there was the meat packers. This was coming out. A lot of people knew it, but it wasn't out there to the masses. But the packers, and then it's the like the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, who's supposed to be an advocate for the farmer and the rancher. They were kind of in bed together, and so they look. I'm getting say $1.20, $1.30 a pound, which I feel like you got to have $1.50 for me to break even. And here we are selling $1.20, $1.30, and then you see the market, it's creeping down. It's been all over the place, ups and downs, but we're never like, we haven't been seeing real high prices. But then you go to the grocery store and you see, wow, hamburgers up astronomical, and it keeps going up, and we're still, prices haven't changed really for us. And then, they said the supply chain breakdown and that stuff. It's the Packers are taking advantage, and it started coming out a little bit, but now it's quiet again. But they're taking advantage of the producer and the consumer.
Let me jump in there real quick, actually. So when you first say $1.50 a pound to break even, are you counting for paying yourself for your time?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what you need is $1.50. That's my thinking.
Yeah, it's worth $1.50 for you to continue your operation.
Correct.
Okay, so now this sounds very similar to what we've been seeing in lumber prices recently, where lumber is exploding because of futures and demand, and these large conglomerates that are buying up this lumber, taking delivery, and then obviously running the price increase off to the consumer, whereas the timber operators, the actual loggers, are going, we're still getting, our stumpage cost is still the same. It hasn't really changed. So there's almost like a battle between the actual supplier of the raw materials, and then you have your middlemen that are all grabbing, big chunks of money. Essentially, it sounds very similar to that in the beef industry, correct?
Yeah. And you're, like another problem is like the Packers. So the U.S. has number one cattle. I mean, we have great cattle, but the Packers, they'll buy like, inferior cattle, and then they're, jacking the price. So they're lower for us, but they're buying cattle from, other places. And there's actually, like right now, I think the National Cattlemen Beef Association wants to be processed in the USA, even if it's an outside animal, and make that a generic thing, which it's processed in the US, but it's not a US, USA beef. And that's like they took off the country of origin labeling, and that's been a big fight, So when you go to the supermarket, you should want U.S. beef, because USA produces the best beef there is, and get stuff, like Argentina. I think they're a big importer of beef. So.
Wow. So that's actually fascinating to learn, and it's actually saddening at the same time. And we might need to do some stories digging in a little bit more to that, so people understand where their beef's coming from. Now, how did the financials work out for you during the whole? Because when the government, we had to close down, there was a supply chain issue. I remember reading stories about that. How are you affected, and were you able to receive assistance? Did it help? I mean, have you talked to other producers that were able to go out and get these loans from the government?
I didn't, because I was doing okay, and I had, we had enough feed or grass, and we were doing pretty good. We had enough hay stored. To where we kind of watched the market and held on to them. And then when we seen, and I got friends the same way. I got friends that are bigger producers than me, and I always talk to them. I'm like, what do you think? What's the market doing? And whenever, they're on top of it 24/7, because that's their full-time job.
Yeah.
And when they said, hey, right now it's time to sell, that's when we loaded them up and, and sold. So I weathered everything pretty good. It didn't hurt me, other than we should be seeing higher prices, I think, at the market. And I did sell a few, because with the supply chain, interrupted, there was just a boom on people wanting to buy directly from the farm, and then they take it to the slaughterhouse. The only problem there is the slaughterhouses are so full. You're like, we're seeing 6 months, 7 months, a year out before you can get one into the slaughterhouse.
You know, actually, you bring up a great idea that I've had before, and it's because I met somebody that went out and got, I want to say it was USDA certified to have a mobile slaughter rig, and he'd pull up with a crane, a trailer, take care of and process the animal right then and there inside of like this little commercial kitchen almost inside the trailer. Are you seeing any operations like that where you are?
No, not seeing it. And there's like several slaughter houses around, so with that type, you don't have to be like USDA. You can, like, there was one here locally, and unfortunately, things got real bad for him. Not that he was super busy, but there was some family issues and stuff, and he killed himself.
Oh,
and so we've lost that, and it was a great place. I mean, because the local people brought hogs, everything there, deer, deer season,
yeah.
all kinds of deer. So we've lost that, and now we're having to go out in my county outside and try to find a place. But that's the problem; they're so booked that. But if I sold a few just straight from the farm, and then took them to the slaughterhouse for them, you can sell a little bit higher, and they know what they're getting, and still would be cheaper than you go in the grocery store. Like I sold an 800-pound steer to a person, and they got a good deal. I got a good deal, and everybody's happy. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So for all the listeners out there that are looking for starting different types of business or businesses, this might be one for you, a mobile slaughter operation. Now, let's do this. Let's turn this, because we can't go too long, but I want to talk about what you're seeing now with weather and how that could be quite possibly affecting both your cattle business and your dog raising business. What are you seeing right now as far as droughts, extreme weather, and affecting different types of crops?
all right, you got right now the Midwest all the way back to California is in a drought. I was looking on there. This was from August the 12th. It said that the U.S. surprise markets with a larger expected yield loss of corn and wheat. And you look at corn right now; it's doubled since January. And corn is in everything. I think people realize that corn it's in soda, it's in dog food, it's in everything pretty much that we consume. It's in there, and it's been cheap and getting out. And so everybody's raising it. But you look at the way the weather is right now. The corn belt's hurting with the droughts. It said, I was just going over some of my notes here. Like this was from June 17th. USDA put out corn yield average trimmed by 2 to 4 bushels per acre. So they've lost, due to the drought, you're losing 4 bushels per acre. You think that's not bad, but that's a pretty big number. And that was in June. So.
Yeah, so let me jump in there. It's interesting when I start putting out these forecasts, these trends that are happening. I'm going off of real live data, like the frost that happened, the horrible frost that happened down in Brazil for the coffee. And it's funny because, or we talked about the heat when I was up in Montana and literally watching crops die immediately right in front of us in a 48-hour period. But people tend to go, no, it's fine. I just read the crop report. And they don't realize that happened. That crop report is based off of information that was gathered approximately within 90 days, right? In the past. We're talking about things that are happening right now. And there's still, I don't think people understand, when corn is grown and then harvested, it actually can go to a facility and stored. And then it takes a certain amount of time for that storage to get dwindled down to where all of a sudden we have a problem. So what you're stating is that we're seeing less corn yield, less wheat yield. It's that less amount of wheat and corn are now going to that storage facility. And as soon as companies and grocery stores need it, they dwindle that down to all of a sudden, oh, we've run out. And then we seem to hit a crisis, right?
Yeah. And you take like their harvested wheat and like, I guess North Dakota, I think they're a big wheat producer. And I was looking 98%, it says 98% of the West is experiencing some level of drought. And I think like North Dakota is a D4, which is as bad as you can get on the drought. And like you were talking about Montana and a drought, like they're dumping cattle right now on the market. and they're still, it's surprising cattle are still doing decent, but they're what I see, and I mean, like, I'm no expert, but so everybody's going to sell, and then our herd shrinks because one, they're selling, they don't have no grass, they don't have no hay. Then, but the beef prices are still going to be high in the store. And then what you keep, you're not going to be able to afford to, I mean, it's going to be pricey to feed them through the winter if you don't have hay and you feed grain. So again, if we do have a good year next year, then cattle prices will probably go up because the herd's so small, you know, the not US herd, and you're still going to be herd at the grocery store.
Yeah, so let me do this. Let's close out with this last question. What are you doing, since farmers are essentially preppers anyway, because they think a lot farther out. They're multi-season, multi-year thinkers. Whereas most consumers, let's say that live in larger cities, aren't those type of people because they don't have to. Anytime they need something, they go to the store. So what are you doing right now, before we close this out, to prepare for this, what you're seeing coming?
Well, as far as I get, like where I'm at, I'm in Kentucky, and we've had plenty of rain, so we've got plenty of grass, we've cut plenty of hay, we got hay stored that'll get us through the winter. I'm talking to a guy right now who wants to buy, like, it's not going to the market. He's going to buy calves, and he's probably going to feed them out himself, and then he'll sell either a half a beef or a whole beef, which helps him out. And that's our plan right now. We're probably going to sell, instead of going to the market, we're going to sell directly to a local person who will in turn sell to a local market, and that's our plan right now, is to and to stay away from the market, you know, unless we see you see a big spike in the market, then we'll probably get rid of our calves then. I'm definitely holding on to my cows there for a little while, for a little bit. I thought about selling cows because they were at a pretty good level to where I was gonna like make money off of them. But then you see what's coming and the food shortage, and like, if I hold on to them, and it does get bad, I can always go out and I can butcher one myself. So,
yeah. Now let me ask you, what about the dog operation? What are you doing to prepare for interesting times?
Well, what I see on that is, I got my personal dogs, and I do, we do a lot of duck hunting and stuff, and I always have them. I do see my side hustle. Probably, maybe I'll have to find something else, because in my mind, dog food, it's already jumped us. Like I feed a really high quality dog food. It went from $26 to $32 in just a couple of weeks. So, and
what kind of dog food? What kind of dog food do you use?
I feed, like, it's called a value pack, and me, dog food don't need to have corn, wheat, or a dog it's a meat-based diet, or meat-based dog food. So that's what I like, and it's a lot better for them, and you get a lot more out of out of it. But then again, why is it going up? Well, meat, everything, all chickens, anything meat-based eats corn. Yep. So it's in there. And then some dog foods have corn in it, so it's in there.
How long does it last when you store it?
You can keep it for, I usually buy it and feed it pretty quick so it don't go bad. But, a couple of months, you would be okay with it.
You can only buy a couple of months in advance to try and keep yourself away from the inflation of dog food.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to keep it no more than probably 3 months, I just, that's me. People might say something different, but I wouldn't want to keep it any longer than that. And then, like a friend of mine, we were talking about, if it gets real crazy, have to go like the old school method, and go to a completely meat-based diet, and possibly, you butcher an animal and then save some of that and feed to them. So,
wow, what a crazy time you're living in.
and I don't know if that'll happen. But and then you talk about the dogs. I think the price of everything going up. The last thing they're going to want anybody to want to do is to pay me to train their dog, because they're going to go, well, food's jumped up this high, and so.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I want to do, and we need to close out here. And I thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
With your permission, I'd love to put a YouTube link on from your channel of the dogs you're running. And if anyone's in Kentucky, they could reach out to you through the YouTube channel and possibly get some dog training, or possibly buy some cattle from you.
But I got my channel, the Bicknell Bunch. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have.
Okay. Yeah. They can get on there and shoot something to me. But
yeah, and so I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put what's the name of your channel?
It's the Bicknell Bunch.
Bicknell
Bunch, Bicknell Bunch. And the way we come up with that is I have 6 kids. Or me and my wife, we got 6 kids, so we're the Bicknell Bunch, and that's how that came about.
That's awesome. I did watch a couple of your videos. I'm actually going to put a link in the description below, everybody, to his channel. Again, if you want some dog training, or you want to talk to someone like yourself that understands things are going on behind the scenes, everything's not as you see, and you want some cattle, you want some fresh beef, you might want to reach out to him. So, Jay, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
And I tell you, I'll say this: everybody watch your channel, because just I get to watching it, and I don't even know how I come across it, but I am so glad I did, because it's like every morning I'm checking it out. You're putting out some videos, and there's some great stuff, and just like you called the dog food, I sent you an email about that. You called that how it was gonna go up, and we're getting ready to see it. So.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Jay. It's people like yourself that literally cause me to get up and do these videos. I'm so blessed to have you guys supporting the channel. I'm so grateful. So with that being said, guys, everybody, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Jay. The Economic Ninja is out.